Welcome to In the Zone with Chris Zander, where we talk lifestyle, entrepreneurship, self-care, and much more. So go grab a drink or a snack and come on back because it is now time to get in the zone. My guest today is an actor, comedian, who continues to use his talent to bring laughter and light into the world. Let's welcome comedian DJ Pryor. How you doing, DJ?
I'm good, man. How are you?
It's been a while since
It has. It's good to catch up with old friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll start here. Clarksville native.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like growing up in Clarksville, being a comedian, a young comedian?
Yeah.
What was it like?
It got me in a lot of trouble. It got me in a lot of trouble because it's a military town. My father was military, and my father was he was strict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got in a lot of trouble in school, and it was actually a teacher that suggested maybe you should try comedy. You know what I mean? You're funny. You're just funny at the wrong time. So at the appropriate time, I actually tried it out, and I fell in love with it.
I guess before you tried it out, did you know what you wanted to be? Did you know what you wanted to do? Or did you know comedy was something that it was there, you just didn't know how to describe it yet?
Yeah, I didn't know how to describe it, but then I saw my grandma had a record player, and she used to always tell us don't touch it. And one day I, put the needle down. You put the needle down on the record, and it was, it was this guy. He was saying all these beautiful, colorful words, and it was Richard Pryor. And I heard him, telling these jokes and his rhythm and his cadence, and how I heard the crowd laughing, and I knew these words I wasn't supposed to hear. You know what I mean? And then a couple of weeks later, I saw my aunt. She was watching this other guy. He was in a red, shiny leather suit, and that was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is me. I am them. We are us. And I knew that was something I wanted to do because they were just standing there on stage with a microphone. And people just laughing at them. And I love attention. You know what I mean? So I was the center of attention. So if I could do something like that and get paid for it, somebody told me you could get paid for it. Oh man, this is God's gift. You know what I'm saying? Telling jokes got me a girl if I wanted a girl. You know what I mean? This is God's gift. It also got me out of whoopings. That was big for me. You know what I mean? You couldn't ask for nothing better.
So you got on people's good side with the comedy. Yeah.
I would do something knowing I was going to be like, you can get in trouble. I was like, no, I tell jokes. I'm good. I'm good.
So I got this. I'm gonna get out of this.
I got this. I'll be out of it. Don't worry about it. And I did. So I knew then this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Yeah, it's dope. And then just bringing people joy. I think when I started to understand the power that the art form had, I really started to appreciate it and wanted to use it more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of people don't know about this.
Yeah.
Your mother had you at 13 years old.
Yeah.
Also, you talk about growing up with your mother and the dynamic with that and your father too. Yeah. What was that like? Because that's different.
It's interesting. Yeah. Nah, it was crazy because they're, when you got parents that young, I always tell people it's like they're like siblings. They're not like parents at all. So they didn't have the mental fortitude to be your parent. They only had the understanding to be your older sibling or something like that. And even to the point of finding you annoying. Like, oh my gosh, you want to go out and like, no, you gotta watch DJ. You know what I mean? So it was crazy growing up with that dynamic because we get a whooping together. You know what I mean? So she be trying to put me on punishment. I'm like, you can't put me on punishment. We both on punishment. You don't have the authority, lady. Yeah. You know what I mean? So and then she ran away. She ran away for a good period. My mom ran away. And it was just me and my grandparents. And then she would show back up. You know what I mean? It was crazy. So I got to see a lot of, you're growing up with your parents. Me and my biological father, we didn't have really a relationship those early years. So I would see him. And then, I would come over to his mom's house and he'd come down and say, he'd be like, yo, what up, little man? You know what I mean? Like I was a stranger. And so
really?
It was really,
Wait, so.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, I have to backtrack a little bit. So you mean to tell me he knows that you're his son.
Yeah.
He'll walk in his mom's house and greet you. And just be like, what's up, little man?
What's up, little man? He's like, oh, what's up? That's how it was. Like, what up, little man? Because we didn't have no relationship. You know what I mean? He spent the first couple of years of my life denying me. Oh, they ain't mine. He ain't mine. They ain't my kid. You know what I mean? So when he came in, it was like just naturally a disconnect. I think I knew who he was or who he was supposed to be. But it was like there was no relationship. What up, little man? I was like, what up? You know what I mean? It was like, and he going about his business, and I'd go hang with his mom, and that was the dynamic of the relationship until like I got a little older. Then I guess I was cool enough to be a son. And he was like, oh yeah, I got a son. You know what I mean? And then But even then, we didn't actually get a good relationship until the latter years of his life. He passed away in 2016. Wow. Yeah, so we got cool right before he passed away. But it was before then. The dynamic was weird.
I almost wonder if he even is aware of the big mistake that he made, because let's face it, you're DJ Pryor.
Yeah.
Right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wonder if he felt like, dang, I missed out on the opportunity when he was young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you ever think that?
He was very vocal his last days. He was very vocal about what he felt he missed out on. In fact, to the point of just saying he couldn't be the man I needed him to be. And he couldn't take credit for who I was. So he owned it as much as he possibly could before he died. You know what I mean? But yeah, to that question, he did feel that way. He did feel like, oh my God, I didn't, I don't know if it mattered much about my success as much as it did that I overcame despite him not being present. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then the man who did raise me stepping in, who was my father. So I got the last name Pryor. My stepfather, who became my father. We don't really say, I don't say stepfather.
Yeah,
but he stepped in, he raised me. Watching how he raised me, I think my biological dad just kind of like, he gave kudos even to him before he died. It's like, man, you were who I couldn't be. You know what I mean? So it was an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't know that you use your story, that pain, that trauma, in your comedy specials. And that's kind of like therapeutic for you. What ways does it help you?
Yeah. Growing up, therapy in the Black community just started being a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it just started being an open conversation. Like before, when you
said a word right there.
When we were younger, right? When we were kids, if you were going to therapy, you were crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And it couldn't be further from the truth. But we weren't told that it was okay for us to go get therapy, or we weren't told that it wasn't necessarily because you were going through something you were trying to prevent. You were taking healthy measures to prevent from having a mental breakdown or something like that. And I think I probably unknowingly dealt with some, because I was just angry. Yeah. And stand-up served as the therapy. I couldn't afford to go get a therapist. So the audience was my therapist. They were my, you know what I mean? And I would come in there and I would, at 15 years old, I didn't have material like as I know it now, but I had jokes. I had stories. I wouldn't even call them jokes then. Then to them it was jokes, but I was just talking about real life. You know what I mean? I was talking about what I've been through, and I had such a mature outlook on life because I had been through so much that people just found it funny because I was saying all this outlandish, grown stuff coming out this 15-year-old's mouth. You can imagine all the cuss words and everything, and I was using stuff right. I was using it right. I want y'all to know I was using my cuss words right. I went to cuss word school. Yeah, it was a university. Yeah. And I was using them right, and so people would just like love to watch. I would go up against, like when I would do competitions, it'd be men twice my age, and I would go down and I would light them up. I would set the stage on fire because I was so good because I was so honest.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's what I think comedy is. It represents honesty. And so when I get on stage, I'm bleeding out. You know what I mean? I'm giving you everything. I'm hitting you with everything as a concern, everything that's on my mind. You wouldn't find out what's going on with me. Listen to what I'm writing about.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And what I love too is you're 21 years in the game. You started at 14, right?
I started at 15. Yeah, so 20
years. Yeah. You just turned 35. Yep. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. I'm old. I'm old.
Nah, not
Man.
old. Just seasoned.
Seasoned.
But 20 years in the game,
right.
A lot of people didn't know this prior to, I guess, before your video. The 2018 video of you and your youngest son that went viral. Mm-hmm. I'll get you guys to take a look at it.
Exactly what I was thinking. Oh, yeah. Right, don't bring that again. You know what I'm saying? Don't do the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was thinking that, yeah.
So, from that moment, did you know that moment would just kind of heighten your career?
I don't know. I didn't. It was because it was supposed to be something personal. You make these home videos. I do that for my kids so they can see when they get older.
Yeah.
And me and my wife were recording it. I was like, get the camera, and we were just recording this moment. And we were watching season finale of Empire. We're talking about it, and he was just really like talkative that day. And I was like, yo, get the camera. This would be funny. And we both thought it would be funny. And she recorded it, and we laughed, and it was going to be something that maybe we would share with like close family friends. But I didn't think about posting it. But one day, she was at work, and she always says something just told her to post it. She always says she had this inclination to post it, and so she posted, and in no time, it got like 300,000 views. People are commenting, and I'm at home. Unbeknownst to me, this is posted. So people call me like, "Congratulations," and I'm like, "Congratulations? What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah, what am I being congratulated for? I'm at the house cleaning." I was like, "Dang, is there a camera in my house? Can you see me cleaning?" Because I'm not the cleaner at the house, so I'm like, "I'm cleaning." Congratulating me. And then I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" And then somebody told me go look online, and I went and saw it, and I was like, I hit her up. I was like, "Hey, man, you didn't tell me we was doing this."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, that was supposed to be a home video, and then it went, in an hour and a half, 2 hours, it did 1.5, and in 10 hours, it did 25 million, and I was like, "You're the GOAT. You're the GOAT. I appreciate you posting that." Yeah,
you was appreciating it.
Good job. Whatever told you to do that.
Yeah,
good job, bud.
But that's like, I don't know. I think what's so cool about it is like, that doesn't just happen. Like, it was like destined to be in that moment.
Yeah.
It was like you and your son both were in sync with each other and had no clue how powerful it was.
Right.
I have to ask you, how did that moment change your life? Because it opened up a door for you to have a Denny's commercial.
Yeah.
You did a few interviews about it and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
But most importantly, what I like about that video, it illustrates the narrative of the Black father that's absent.
Right.
You're present with your kids. You have 2 sons.
Yeah.
You're present with them.
Yeah.
So how did it change just you and the narrative that people, I guess, have about fathers for you, if you ever saw it that way?
I have. You don't ask for that responsibility. It just happens. It lands how it lands, and immediately, overnight, I became the spokesperson for fatherhood, Black fatherhood, and you feel at first, when it first happens, it's exciting. You know what I mean? Oh my God, it's finally happening. Every channel you turn on, everything is going crazy. You're like, oh my God, this is it. This is the moment. And then when you process everything, you go, oh man, I'm responsible for this now. Like, if something happens in the country right now, and how the temperature is in the country right now, I have to be the one to speak on the behalf of, hold on, man, I ain't asked for this. They're like, hey, man, give it back. I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was really the impression this guy left on me. I was in New York, and I was taping the Today Show the next day, and I was going into the hotel. This guy was the bellhop, and he walked up to me, and New Yorkers, they're passionate. Hey yo, son, come here. Yeah. Let me holler at you. And I was like, yo, I thought he was gonna rob me. I was like, what's happening? And he was like, yo, what you doing? This thing you're doing right now is for the culture. That's what he told me. It's for the culture. And when he said that, like this weight, like this came over me, and I remember. And this guy's emotional. He's talking about how he tries to see his kids, and his baby mom wouldn't let him see the kids because they're not going to be together. So, but he's working so he can pay child support, but he just wants to be in his kid's life. And that was just like, he was like, thank you for what you're showing. And right then it was like, man, I'm speaking up. I'm the spokesperson.
Yeah.
And I remember going upstairs and I cried, man, because it was like, man, like, yo, like, it's like God gave me this responsibility, so I got to do something with it. So yeah, I do. I feel a heavy weight of responsibility. That's why, the way I track it, you know what I mean? I'm really just parenting my kids, but I do know that I'm speaking to a narrative every day I wake up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I love about it is too, you're the opposite of the environment you grew up in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes people try to label, especially Black guys, like if you grow up in dysfunction, then you're going to be a product of that dysfunction. Yep. And oftentimes, sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. Right. But you're not.
Right.
And I love that you're illustrating to the world that I can be a Black father, I can be successful, and I'm here for my kids. Yeah. And I want my kids to succeed. And just because I grew up a certain way, I want the best for my kids. Yeah. And I think, to me, that makes you even more legendary.
Oh, thank you.
People see your work and stuff. Yeah. And I guess because I know you, it's different to me. Yeah. But that makes you even more legendary.
Thank you.
So I have to give you that.
Thank you.
Do.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna be with my environment because I don't like jail. I don't like jail. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't choose this because this is the right path. I chose it because I don't like jail. Yeah. That's why. And I'm just not built for it. You know? I just chose this easier. This life is way easier. Not looking over my shoulder. Not going to jail.
Listen, I couldn't make it either. That's not for me. Number one, the food. I'm not trying to be in there with that nasty ass food.
They come give you the food. You're like, yeah, no, I ain't been here long enough. Just give me a few more days and then I'll be desperate. But not yet. I've only been here 6 hours. I still got cheeseburger in my mouth. I'm good.
Okay, so we're gonna make a transition. You recently shared a video or a photo of you at 14 when you first started out in comedy. I have to ask you this: 20 years in the game, what is the biggest lesson you've learned about yourself, and what are you growing to learn about yourself?
Oh man, first, when I started, I was just ignorant enough not to know the rules. And so what I mean by that is, my early material I couldn't tell those jokes today's age. Like I couldn't, I would be canceled immediately. But I was a young black kid coming from the projects who only had this perspective. You know what I mean? And what I learned was the doors that opened for me to even be in this position, whether people accept it or not, honesty is what got me here. You know what I mean? Being honest, that's what, like, the funny was in the honesty. You know what I mean? It was like they're laughing because they get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So one of the first lessons I learned was keep being honest. The day you stop playing to your truth is the day you stop being funny. You cease to be funny. That's like, it has to come from a grounded truth. And what made my material so raw when I first started, I had impersonation. I did impersonations back in the day, but it was like everything was like what I saw. Even the people I impersonated was like, I'm talking about Def Comedy Jam. I would imitate Chris Tucker. But that's what we had then. That's what you know what I'm saying? So everything had to be grounded in some truth. If I get them in, I'm talking about drugs and I'm talking about my mom being strung out. I remember some people would cringe like, oh my God, he's talking about his mother. You know what I mean? Being strung, it's like, what you tripping for? It's my mama.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And just because, look, your mama might be going through the same thing.
Your mama might be doing it. Your mama might have been the supplier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was my truth. You know what I mean? And so I learned very early on to stay true. And that's what got me through 20 years of even though career went up and down as far as, income and all that. Yeah. The success of it was I always got to work, even when the phone might not have been ringing crazy, even when the money wasn't coming in like that. I never stopped working. And then now what I've learned is the pivot of maturity. Now my material obviously has changed, husband and dad, and so now my experiences are different. So now I'm talking about things like when I was a kid, I was talking about this, and now my experience is so much broader. So the world to me looks a lot different than I saw it at, that age. So now, now I tell jokes with more intent. I'm making more of a statement. Yes. I have something I want to say. I want to speak to narratives. So that's what I've learned is now your responsibility is you're in the game. People are listening. You've been working 20 years for people to listen. Now they all ears. What are you going to say? And so that's what I've learned. It's just now being more intentional. So the first one is knowing your truth, speak to your truth, and then now being intentional in 20 years. Yeah. I love that. Like it's true. Yeah. And it's real. Yep. It's from a real place. Yep. You're funny, obviously. Mm-hmm. You're a comedian. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you're not so funny. Mm-hmm. You go through things, right? Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel like there's a pressure to put on? Or do you ever feel like there's a pressure, not even just to put on, but to be funny all the time? Because people don't see you for beyond being a comedian and an actor, if that makes sense. Do you ever feel that pressure? I used to. Not so much anymore. And I think why? Because people are starting to allow me to, they're seeing me cross the lanes. Like, oh, he does have a serious side. Even with the video going viral, people saw me speaking to a very serious narrative of fathers being present, right? So they get to see a serious side. So I think sometimes it catch people off guard, like, oh my gosh, DJ can be serious. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. But no, the people around me, and usually my team, my family and stuff, they know I have a serious side. Mm-hmm. But I will speak to, I'm often, what you see is what you get. I will make a joke in what some would consider an inappropriate time, you know. but it's not because, you know, I'm being a jerk. That's really what gets me through. That's what gets us through in the house. We've laughed at dark times. You know what I mean? And that's what's gonna get you through. So sometimes telling a joke is just survival. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm trying to, or I'm not gonna write the joke. I just thought it was funny and I laughed. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily feel the pressure. Now I think now it's just having fun.
And I have to ask you this too, because you talked about a team. It's important to have a team just with you to build you up and encourage you and everything like that. Right. Like, how do you make sure people in your team, because sometimes when you're in the public eye, you know, people could be trying to take away from you. How do you make sure the people around you are adding to you and not trying to take from you, if that makes sense, just because you are a public figure? Right.
I think it comes with the vetting of, you know, I used to give people positions, you know what I mean? Because I was, you know, things were popping off and I was like, yo, I'm gonna make you this, I'm gonna make you that, and I'm gonna make you, and it was positions nobody necessarily asked for. It was just like, you know, it was like, they never told me they were capable of doing any of these jobs, and I was putting them, and I was getting frustrated when they weren't doing them. I was like, what's going on? And then now I put people, I'm intentional about who I have around me in those positions, you know what I mean? Like, and these people add to me daily. You know what I mean? They add to me. They add to my company. I have a production company. So they add to the production company. And we just shot the special. So, you know what I mean? They really like got behind that. And anybody who's crazy enough to ride with me on an idea, you know, that person is a risk taker. It's a whole bunch of risk takers. That's what my team consists of, a whole bunch of risk takers in as one unit. Still young enough to be figuring it out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what I appreciate about us. We're still young. We're still figuring it out. And we have goals, and some of our goals, like, we all have the power to leverage each other. And that's what I love about it. You know what I mean? Nobody has stopped doing what they were doing for their own companies, their own business. And that's what I like about it, is that we leverage each other. We all, in my unit, we really don't need to go outside of us. We do, obviously, because we network, but we don't have to. You know what I mean? And so yeah, everybody's pretty much, they're pretty leveled up. But I do vet it before I bring somebody on. You know what I mean, hey, what's up? Okay, you know, first off, you can't keep up with me, my schedule. Yeah, this probably ain't gonna work out. You know what I mean? But yeah, we vet it.
I love that. I do. Yeah. So we're talking about this, the comedy special. Yes, Daddy Issues. Talk about it,
man. Listen, I had this crazy idea to go ahead and shoot this special, and I was like, man, I went to my team, and I was like, hey, man, I'm thinking about doing a special. When I say I'm thinking about, that means I've already made the decision. I'm just trying to ease it on you. Right,
because it's already done.
It's already done. And I was like, it's now or never, because COVID really slowed everything down for me. And it was like, and like a lot of, you know, artists, you know, it slowed everything down. So it's like, what can you do to make something go boom? And I was like, you know, it's time to tape a special. I'm almost 20 years in. I don't have a special. I need to get a special, and I have something to talk about. And obviously my fans are not going to release me from this topic of fatherhood until I do something on the topic. Yeah. So I was like, this is my gift to my fans. This is me speaking to the narrative, and this is also a tribute to my late biological father. So it turned out to be multiple things, and it's a very, very funny, very heartfelt special. I'm really proud of it. We shot it under our own umbrella, my production company, Laughterisuniversal. So we own it. Everything about it, and we sold the tickets. The people came out. We shot it, and I mean, when I tell you, tip top shape, man. The team showed off. We brought in directors, and you know, oh man, it was amazing. It's amazing. So I can't wait for people to see it. Right now, the pending, I won't give you that, but it's October. Okay. I'll give you October. Yeah, we'll give you October. We'll give you, but I will give you, as soon as we get the actual date, I'll give it to you. Okay. October is dropping. So I'm really excited about it for the world to see it and experience Daddy Issues live. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to ask you, like, it takes a little bit of you looking within yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So what are some things that you had to look within yourself with for this special?
You know, soul searching. You can't film a special like what I just filmed without doing a whole bunch of soul searching. And I don't want to give nothing away, but at the end, I really have a heartfelt moment. And you'll see like really, you're laughing for an hour and then you really realize that it all was for this moment.
We about to start crying.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's gonna touch you. It's gonna touch you. You're gonna see it. You're gonna love it. But it's a lesson that you take away from it. But yeah, it does it takes a whole bunch of soul searching to prepare for a moment like this. And I'd already been writing a lot of this material over time. And then when I made the decision I was gonna film it, I was like, okay, I gotta finish writing exactly what I want to speak to.
Yeah.
And so I spoke to several different things in the special. So I touched some pretty tough issues, man. I talked about some pretty tough things, but we laughed about it as a conglomerate. You know what I mean? The audience was feeling it. The energy in the room was crazy that night. You know what I mean? And it just came out. It just came out amazing. So yeah. But you do have to go somewhere. Anytime you work on something like this, you got to go somewhere. I don't care if you're working on an album. I don't care what you're working on. You got to go somewhere as an artist to dig that stuff out for it to be great. In my opinion, you can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna go up there and wing it. You got to figure out what you want to say, how you want to say it, and pull from your experience.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
And you heard it here first.
Yep.
October.
You're going to see it in October.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So let's make...
Nobody knows that. Nobody has that. You got that. Got that. Nobody else has that. Yep.
Well, you heard it here first on In the Zone with Chris Zander. So, okay, let's make a transition. What advice would you give to anyone who wants to be in your position, but they are just not aware of what it takes?
If risk is not something that you're accustomed to or willing to do, go get a day job, because this will require major sacrifice. It will require late hours. It will require tough skin, thick skin, because you will get rejected. That's the thing about this industry. It's a lot of rejection, and some personal, some business. Some nasty, some nice, some nasty nice. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna in this industry, you gotta develop tough skin and learn not to take things as personal. So, and then when they say no to the ones who do personally have a vendetta, you can't let them stop you. But I would say risk and thick skin is what this is gonna take. And work ethic. Faith. These are all the things that I live by. You got work ethic, you got faith. The Bible says faith without works is dead. I felt like a preacher just now. And so you can't, you can have all the faith in the world, but if you don't put work behind it, it won't manifest itself. And I know everybody on this manifestation kick, but nobody, they forget to tell you manifestation comes with work. Oh, manifestation.
That's the truth.
Work. Like they go hand in hand. They're partners. You can't manifest
and you're not doing
nothing. If I stay right here and I don't pay the bills for this place, you know what I mean?
You're gonna
I don't pay the electric bill.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't pay the electric bill. We're gonna be here in darkness. You will manifest darkness. That's what you're gonna manifest. So I just think that we gotta, they would have to apply all those principles, and they'll be fine, because it is a hard business, especially doing comedy. I think that is single-handedly the hardest art form in the industry. Stand-up comedy is hard.
Yeah.
You have nothing to hide behind. It's just you and your opinion. And at this world right now, where they're trying to kill stand-up comedy because you can't have an opinion.
Listen, let me ask you that. As a comedian and even an actor, do you feel like the work you do, you have to be very cautious about?
Yeah, everything's censored.
So how does that mess up with your artistry, Because that affects you.
It goes back to the risk. Do you want to be canceled today? You know what I mean?
But how do you know none of us know if you're going to be canceled or not, right?
Yeah, if you're offended, right? If I tell a joke, right, and you're offended by that joke, it doesn't take away from my truth. It doesn't take away from my perspective, right? You could be mad about it and you say, don't say it again because you offended me. Well, that's cool, but there are other people who share my view. So I should shut down my view completely because you have a view. And I think it comes back down to just respecting that other people have opposing views.
Absolutely.
Right? And that is okay. You know what I mean? But now we live in a world where everybody's hypersensitive. You know what I mean? The temperature of the country and things going on in the temperature of the world right now. Just everything's going on. So they try to tame the art form now. This is the stand-up comedy is the narrator for society, right? like almost like hip hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop and stand up comedy narrate society. And think about it. Those are the two things that are censored.
Absolutely.
Hip hop, now they using lyrics against the artists for court cases.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
That just happened recently.
Yeah.
When, I can't remember.
Young
with,
Thug. Yeah. So they using that stuff, and then stand up comedy where they just trying to end comics careers. You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those things where both of these art forms are two of the most powerful art forms in the world. That's why is if I can get in your head, you sit down, listen to me for an hour, or you play a record, those things, they put something in you. They put, they influence you in a way. So the person who controls the sound waves controls the mind. So if I take away your mic, whether you're rapping or telling jokes, then I can control the people. I can control the minds. And so that's why I said the art form is under attack. But if you're true to the game, if you're a true artist, you won't stop.
Yeah.
I still got to do it. So
it's
my calling, man.
I do say this. I think people need to be a little bit more filtered of what they share and how they share.
Right.
Now, I think it's weird to me that we have cancel culture, but at the same time, people don't have the wisdom to know when to say things and what to say.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Exactly. And that's the stuff you learn when you're a kid.
You
Time
should.
and place for everything, right? You learn that as a kid. Time and place for everything. I tell my son all the time, he'll say some stuff and I'm like, what in the, why? Why right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you learn that as a child. But the problem is a lot of people haven't grown up.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so when it's all said and done, let's say you're 97, you pass away. I'm not trying to put that on you like that.
Hey, man, whatever. I'm with it. 97 is still good. I would imagine all my friends, because they do not live healthy lives, I would imagine all my friends are going at this point. I ain't got nobody here.
So let's say you live that long.
Okay.
And when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
It's crazy. I just posted about this. I want people to know that I gave everything, and that's cliche, but I'll go a step further, as in I want my life to be of service, right? And if it's really of service, my legacy will still be serving when my body's gone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The stuff I put in place should still be serving. Perfect example of that, Martin Luther King. He's been gone 50 years. But his legacy is still serving. What he stood for is still serving. Civil Rights Act, things that he fought for, still serving today in 2023. That is a man who understood what it meant to be a servant and to let his message render what his body couldn't. The day before he got killed, you can go look it up, his it gives me chills thinking about it. His last speech, he said, we're going to the mountaintop, and he said, and I may not make it with you. He was prophesying that I probably won't make what I'm dreaming up.
Yeah.
What I'm fighting for. And the next day he was killed. April 2nd and April 3rd he was dead. Or was it April 3rd and April 4th he died?
I want to say it was the 4th.
The 4th,
1968.
Right. Yeah. So the 3rd he gave that speech, and the 4th he was dead. You know what I mean? But he understood, even when you listen to that speech, when you really listen to that speech, his last speech, you hear all the things he was saying. He was like, don't bring up my Nobel Peace Prize. Don't bring up this. You tell him that I try my best to love every man I came in contact with. He's saying this stuff. He understood the principle that true legacy lives beyond my body.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to replicate, now. Like, true legacy will be in my children, yeah, but even if, God forbid, we all left at the same time, our legacy will live beyond. You can't kill me. I can't die. That's what I'm saying. You can't kill me.
I love that.
I am undieable.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you do the work you do, not just because you are talented and gifted.
Thank you.
Because you are.
Thank you.
But it's like, it's more than that.
Yeah, it's more than that. It was that when I just wanted to be the funniest guy in the room when I was younger, but now it's like, because I'm gonna retire from stand up one day. But the work I'm doing, my philanthropy work, that's gonna be, Pryor to Change is my foundation. That's gonna be what's gonna be the thing that's gonna really be the rest of my work. That's my life's work. You know what I mean? And stand up comedy is still gonna be my life's work because I still believe in the things that I'm putting into my comedy. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, in conclusion, where can people find you on social media? You say you have a production company.
Yeah.
You have so many different things going on.
Yeah.
Just dump it on us.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Comedian DJ Pryor on all social media, and I post a lot about both of them. I post about Laughterisuniversal, my production company. I talk about Pryor to Change. Also, you can find that on social media, Pryor to Change Global, which is my foundation, and laughterisuniversal Productions. I post about them, so if you follow me, Comedian DJ Pryor, on social media, you'll find other pages.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, before I let you go, I have to say this to you.
Okay.
I remember when I met you, I was like 21.
Yeah.
This was back in 2018.
Yeah.
You did my first talk show at Austin
Look
Peay
how
State
far
University.
you came. That's crazy. Yeah. Yep, I remember.
I remember that moment, and I have to say, you are the exact same person then as you are now.
Thank
and
you,
what
man.
I mean by that is, like, you are genuine.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
that.
you, I appreciate that.
And I say this too because, like I mentioned earlier, you're talented, you're gifted. Continue to be that.
Thank you.
Continue to be yourself.
Thank you.
Because people love and respect you because of that.
Thank you.
I
Thank
certainly
you.
do.
Thank
so
you.
I have
Likewise.
to say that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So for those of you watching today, thanks for tuning in, and until next time.